It's trying to both hit CRT and also anything to do with gender at the same time, because apparently talking about race or gender will destroy the fabric of American society. Alrighty, so there has been more talk about Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. And I really think that we need to talk about the bill in its entirety as best we can and talk about some of the ways in which it's more than a little problematic. I know there's a lot of people who have a lot of emotions about this bill, who have a lot of opinions about it, and I've made a video about it before, but we'll go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty about it here in just a second. But first, so, from Kawaii Kitten, a reminder of our own mortality, old lady Suris with 2 hammers. The small one is attached to the purse. P.S. This is my first fan art for anyone ever. I'm still learning how to draw properly, so this is the best I can do right now. Hope you like it. Honestly, I do like it. It looks really, really great for your first fan art dropped down. And you know, honestly, I am honored. I am honored that that I am the first person that you have made fan art for. Thank you very much for the awesome fan art. The next bit we have here is from Sky Lily. Alice in Wonderland inspired clam slime Suris plus hammerhead shark. That's a very happy shark. That's a very happy shark. I don't know if clam Suris is going to be the next model that I do. A VTuber liking fan art? I know, right? Weird. Kitramina, thank you very much for hopping into the chat. Said new here. Love the cute slime kitty Suris. Well, thank you very much. It's a happy sea pupper. The last piece of fan art we have is from Fizz. Little Suris doodles I did in class. We actually got a couple of them. We got this one right here. We have another one of Slime Suris that I'm going to go ahead and pull up right here. We have Slime Suris seeing the end of days. We have a regular, as soon as it can actually open up, regular Neko Suris available as well, including another one that looks almost black lighty. As always, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future episode, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With all that said, let's go ahead and talk about the bill. So, Decoradol, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. So it's called the Don't Say Gay bill, the bill that we're going to be going over here, and it has been signed into law. So we should probably go ahead and look at the bill as it has been signed in, because the bill that we looked at before, I believe, was a modicum different than what we have available here. So let's go ahead and read the bill and see what we have to look forward to. An act relating to parental rights and education requiring district school boards to adopt procedures that comport with certain provisions of law for notifying a student's parent of specified information, requiring such procedures to reinforce the fundamental right of parents to make decisions regarding the upbringing and control of their children in a specified manner, prohibiting the procedures from prohibiting a parent from accessing certain records, providing construction, prohibiting a school district from adopting procedures or student support forms that prohibit school district personnel from notifying a parent about specified information, or that encourage or have the effect of encouraging a student to withhold from a parent such information, prohibiting school district personnel from discouraging and prohibiting parental notification. All this is just explaining the nuts and bolts of what the bill is going to try to do here. So, let's go ahead and move on to the actual meat of the bill. Section 1, paragraph C is added to the subsection 8 of powers and duties of district school board. The district school board, acting as a board, shall exercise all powers and perform all duties listed below. In accordance with the rights of parents enumerated in blah, 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 adopt procedures for notifying a student's parent if there is a change in the student's services or monitoring relating to the student's mental, emotion, or physical health or well-being, and the school's ability to provide a safe and supportive learning environment for the student. The procedure must reinforce the fundamental right of parents to make decisions regarding the upbringing and control of their children by requiring school district personnel to encourage a student to discuss issues relating to his or her well-being with his or her parent, or to facilitate discussion of the issue with the parent. The procedures may not prohibit parents from accessing any of their students' education and health records created, maintained, or used by the school district. A school district may not adopt procedures or student support forms that prohibit school district personnel from notifying a parent about his or her mental, emotional, or physical well-being, or a change in related services. This is all just the same language again. Classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3, or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. So, let's get a couple things out of the way here. The very first thing that this bill is doing is making it to where you cannot talk about gender identity in school as a teacher for specifically kindergarten to grade 3, but bear in mind, it does say, or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. So, for anybody who has been saying that this only affects kindergarten to grade 3, congratulations. The actual verbiage of the bill disagrees with you. Because the bill has a specific argument against kindergarten to grade 3, and then a more vague argument about other grade and age groups. So anything that can be considered by a school board to not be age appropriate or developmentally appropriate can end up being struck down. Has nothing to do with strictly being about kindergarten through grades 3, at least not the way the bill is written. So we've already got a bit of a problem. This guy loves this guy very much. Is that sexual? No. Like, here's the thing. So I've had this conversation with friends of mine in real life. I've had this conversation at a table with real people, and it always seems to come down to sex. This is not a hyperbole statement. This is not me going, it's always that. No. This conversation always ends up being about sex for some reason, and not sex as it relates to biology, but sex as it relates to fucking. Somebody goes, well, I just don't want my kids to know about that stuff yet. Okay, cool. Why? What is bad about being gay? Moreover, what's bad about having a gender? Literally, per the verbiage of the bill up to this point, a teacher should not be able to talk about any sexual orientation, including being straight. And they shouldn't be able to talk about any gender identity at all, including, just being cis. The bill is obviously aimed at trans kids. This is aimed at stopping teachers from being able to talk about being gay or being trans. That's what it's supposed to do. Here is my suggestion. If a teacher mentions anything about a straight relationship of any kind, then report it. Go ahead and report it. Comply with the law very, very aggressively. Use the law against them. And no, this is not becoming a snitch. This is literally taking this law and using it against legislators. Pile up everything on their desks so high that they realize that this was a stupid fucking thing to sign in. This is not snitching. Snitching is revealing a secret that you weren't supposed to. This is literally taking bog standard information and relaying it and showing that actually this is fucking dumb. Like, this is malicious compliance. It is a protesting technique that has been utilized several times, and it is much preferable to things like, say, violence. But let's continue. Just pointing out the beginning part, yes, it technically stops it from kindergarten to grade 3, but it also has the vague clause for fucking anybody. But let's make an argument real quick on this section of the bill. Let's make an argument, not only with the aggressive compliance being malicious in how we do it, but let's add on to that Can we have a conversation about being gay or straight that doesn't involve sex? Yes. It's very easy. Have you ever had a conversation with your child about your relationship with their mother or father that didn't involve sex, that didn't involve fucking? Probably, because you felt that talking about fucking was not age appropriate. So you left the inappropriate parts out of the conversation. Guess what? Teachers are very adept at doing this. They've been doing it for a very long time. It's been part of their job for ages. Let's get Dave Babbitt. Thank you very much for redeeming your points for an... You fucking monster. So their kids, they won't understand / be able to perform. Yep. Moreover, there's other aspects of this as well. If we're talking about things like sex education, there's really not that much wrong with explaining very basic things like the names of genitals, because it's a whole lot easier when a child has been assaulted for them to actually talk about their assault if they have the right words to do so. Trigger warning real quick, but if a young girl has been assaulted and the language that she has for the situation is to talk about it like a man licked my cookie, most people will not bat an eye at that. They won't care. But if they actually say the name of what happened, if they actually can give accurate information, we can now identify when someone has been assaulted infinitely easier. Isn't there a picture where they can point to that represents their body? Red Joker, here's the problem. How do you get them to the stage where they're talking about that? How do you get them to the stage where they're pointing on their body? For them to get to that stage, you have to have already gotten to the point in the conversation where you've accepted there's a chance that they've been assaulted. But if the language they're using is infantile, it can be very hard to actually get to that part of the conversation. People don't walk around with pictures of human anatomy and go, they touched my cookie, and then point to their genitalia. Generally speaking. So, the next thing, student support services training developed or provided by a school district to district personnel must adhere to student services guidelines, standards, and frameworks. That's just redundancy in the document. At the beginning of the school year, each school district shall notify parents of each healthcare service offered at their student school and the option to withhold consent or decline any specific service. Parental consent to a healthcare service does not waive the parent's right to choose his or her student's educational or health records or to access their health records or to be notified about a change in student services or monitoring as provided by this paragraph. I sincerely hope that this is not abused by parents who are religious fanatics of, say Jehovah's Witness variety, where there's certain medications that they will not allow their kids to have, even if they need it for life-saving purposes. I sincerely hope that never gets abused in any way, shape, or form. 6, before administering a student well-being questionnaire or health screening from a student in kindergarten through grade 3, the school district must provide the questionnaire or health screening from the parent to obtain permission from the parent. Each school district shall adopt procedures from a parent to notify the principal or his or her designee regarding concerns under this paragraph at his or her student's school and the process for resolving these concerns within 7 calendar days. At a minimum, the procedures may require that within 30 days after notification by the parent that concern remains unresolved, the school district must either resolve the concern or provide a statement of the reason for not resolving the concern. If a concern is not resolved by the school district, a parent may request a commissioner of education to appoint a special magistrate who's a member of the Florida bar, basically just saying you can get a lawyer to fight for you if you need it. You can bring actions against the school district if you need it. Each school shall adopt policies to notify parents of the procedures required under the subparagraphs. Nothing contained in the subparagraph shall be construed to abridge or alter rights of action or remedies in the equity already existing under the common law or general law. By June 30th, 2023, the Department of Education shall review and update as necessary school counseling frameworks and standards, educator practices and professional conduct principles, and any other student service personnel guidelines, standards, or frameworks in accordance with the requirements of the Act. So, really, the most important part to me, outside of all the medical stuff where kids are concerned, is the part that says that they can't, like, you as a teacher, cannot talk about gender identity. You can't talk about sexual orientation. You can talk about sexual orientation without talking about sex. It's very easy. Mommy and daddy love each other very much. That's why we live together. There we go. Boom, did it. You can talk about gender identity without talking about being trans. It's easy. I'm a guy. I feel like a guy. Boom. Super easy. Takes nothing. I've had the conversation thrown to me where they've said that, how is this actually a problem? It's only affecting kids in these grades. And I don't want my kid hearing these things in these grades. Again, remember, the actual text of the bill, as written, has a stanza in it that is vague enough to allow this to stretch well beyond the point of grade 3. Past that, if you think that it's inappropriate to talk about sexual orientation or gender to somebody who is in the 3rd grade, then it is inappropriate to talk about being straight. It's inappropriate to talk about being a guy or being a girl in any way, shape, form, or construence. If it is inappropriate to talk about it on the coin of trans issues or being gay, then it is inappropriate to talk about it on the other side of the coin with cis issues and being straight. Malicious compliance is a very, very useful protesting technique. But you should probably not hold your breath, because it's not just going to be a Florida thing. It's coming to Georgia, too. The Don't Say Gay bill is also coming to Georgia. It is called SB 613. So, let's read it real quick just before we read the actual bill. We've got some troubling news. The Don't Say Gay bill has come to Georgia. The latest attack on LGBT kids is disturbing, but not new. A remarkably similar bill just passed in Florida. While we're busy reviewing the exact language of SB 613, here's what we know. The bill attempts to stifle the full inclusion of LGBT students in classrooms across Georgia. From removing student artwork in Athens to attempting to ban trans students from sports, and this latest attempt to suppress LGBTQ students in the classroom, anti-LGBTQ forces are hard at work in Georgia. For the past 8 years, we've stood together to keep all anti-LGBTQ legislation from becoming law in Georgia. SB 435, SB 613, and others do nothing to protect our students. LGBTQ students and families have as much right to see themselves reflected in the classroom. Yeah, we already know. Okay, so this is mostly stuff we agree with. So let's go ahead and take a look real quick on what these two bills are. Should just nuke Florida when we have the chance? No, we don't nuke Florida. Disney's there. Growing number of Georgia's private and non-public schools have embraced curriculum programs based on critical theory. Oh, yay, it's anti-CRT shit. In practice, these developments have caused private schools to segregate students, staff, and parents by ethnicity, color, and race, and national origin to compel students to adopt language and attitude. Wait, where the fuck are students being segregated based on race? Where the fuck is that happening? Where is that actually fucking happening? That feels almost like a lie. To adopt language and attitudes that promote racial division and discrimination. In what way? And to promote the concept that there is a hierarchy of oppressor and oppressed, and that one's race, gender, sexual orientation, color, or national origin irrevocably determines his or her place in that hierarchy. That's not what critical theory does. That's not what critical race theory does. What the fuck? Some teachers and other personnel in... Okay, let's see here. Where else does it even mention gender in here? Okay, some teachers and other personnel in private and non-public schools and programs have inappropriately discussed gender identity with children who have not yet reached the age of discretion. What is the Georgia age of discretion? The age of consent is 16, which is a bit low. What is the age of discretion? Feels like that could just be an arbitrary number thrown at any point. That such a focus on racial and gender identity and its resulting discrimination on the basis of color, blah, 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 is destructive to the fabric of American society. That a private or non-public school's actions promoting the segregation, separation, or stereotyping of individuals based upon their color, race, or ethnicity is bad. Okay, so this seems to be a bill that's trying to both tackle... It's trying to both hit CRT and also anything to do with gender at the same time, because apparently talking about race or gender will destroy the fabric of American society. So let's talk about the Civil War without talking about race in school. Let's do that. let's talk about the triangle slave trade in America without talking about race. Not exactly an easy thing to do. In fact, I think that to not talk about race in either one of those situations is almost inappropriate levels of whitewashing. But that's just me. So we've looked at the exact wording of the Florida bill, at the very least, to show that the paragraph that people use as evidence that it is only affecting people in kindergarten to grade 3 shows that it also has a provision to be able to vaguely reach outside of that as well. And that creates just as many problems as anything else. And we've also pointed out that there are ways to aggressively, maliciously comply with these things. Also, Liquid. Lay 5 quid. Thank you very much for the follow. That's exactly what they want. Talk about the Confederacy without mentioning slavery. Oh, I don't doubt that that's probably one of the end goals. Believe me, dude, the way that people talk about the Civil War down here in the South is so weird. You either hear talk about states' rights or they were just coming to take our resources. Literally, I have sat at a table among friends and heard this exact conversation. And I immediately, like, the first thought in my head is, what resources? It was either our cotton or our slaves. And if it was our cotton, it is also, you know, an extension of our slaves at that point. Moreover, if we can't talk about gender to a kid, then okay. The minute that a kid says, I'm a girl, you can just see the teacher just start vibrating. Just inability to respond. There's no way to respond to it because you can't talk about gender. Right? That's what the bill says. It's like, do I correct her? No, you're an amorphous blob of nothing until you reach the age of discretion. Okay. Sure thing. I've heard those combos at family reunions. That's why I stopped going to family reunions. Ouch. I'm sorry, you can't say girl anymore, sweetie. You can only say human. DeSantis took gender away from us. Anyway, so there's us going over those things. Now, I have to ask, there's another side of this conversation that needs to be brought up. If it is inappropriate for teachers to talk about gender and orientation, should we also have a similar ban for churches? Now, I understand that this is functionally a category error because churches are not state-funded, not in any meaningful way here, whereas teachers are state-funded. But the question does have to be asked. What do we do about a church that tells children at a very young age to hate gay people? What do we do when we are not allowed at any significant age to influence a child's thought process on how to interact with people who happen to be gay? But a church is allowed to influence that at all points. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below what you think there, because as a matter of practicality, I have to start asking, like, what happens? What do you do? Bad parents exist. There are parents that will teach their children to be homophobic at a very young age. If you don't believe me, then consider checking out the NIFB. The things I have heard from fucking 12-year-old children that come out of or that are like part of the NIFB because their parents are part of the NIFB is astounding. And not in a good way. I sincerely think this person is going to need to be, like, deprogrammed from all of this shit kind of way. So let me know what you think in the comment section below about the type of reality this paints. Because it's a very weird and oppressive one in my brain. But as always, everyone, thank you for watching the episode. Thank you for being here. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. If you haven't followed over on Twitch, that's certainly a thing that would be incredibly helpful to do. Subscribing over on Twitch is also super awesome. If you have not checked out my Patreon, most of what you're going to find over there is pet videos and videos talking about the state of the channel and things going on behind the scenes. But if that is your vibe and you also want to support the channel and what I do, then consider being a patron. There's always room for more. Also going to probably get some other Twittery stuff set up for patrons as well. But with that all said, as always, everyone, insert end of video tagline here.